Thank you everyone for joining our webinar. Today we're going to talk all about the luxury opportunity in AR commerce. And if you have questions for the session, submit them in the Q&A section on the Zoom interface. Or if we don't get to them, you can always email ask@voguebusiness.com. Alrighty, so let's get started. So today we're going to be talking all about AR and augmented reality. And our guests have been some of the people leading innovation in AR and kind of coming out very early on with some new projects. And today we're going to talk about a brand new project from Gucci, which is so interesting. And it's a first of its kind. So first we have Carolina Arguelles, who has global product marketing for AR at Snap. We have Robert L. Triefus, who is Executive Vice President of Brand and Customer Engagement at Gucci. And I'm your host, Maghan McDowell, the Innovation Editor at Vogue Business. So today, what we're going to cover is, first of all, we want to understand the evolution of AR and defining AR commerce. What does that even mean? And how has augmented reality changed? Then we're going to look at the case study of Snapchat and Gucci for a project that just was introduced today, or yeah, I think it was today or yesterday. And then we're going to talk about increasing access to AR amid new opportunities for fashion and beauty. So like, how are fashion and beauty brands able to access AR in new ways? So Carolina, let's start with you. Tell us about the beginning of AR on Snapchat. Like 5 years ago, Snapchat added the ability for people to really augment their face with digital content. So tell us how that's changed in the past 5 years.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for having me. Well, fashion leaders like Gucci are masters of their craft. And at Snapchat, we see AR and the camera as our craft. We see the camera as the new keyboard, the new way that people communicate, the new way that we can access digital information. It's the new way that we're going to be living our lives and accessing information. Now, AR on Snapchat, you're correct. It started as this way for people to visually communicate these almost silly filters and vomiting rainbows and hot dogs. It was basically really sophisticated technology masquerading as fun, creative. And this type of application, what it did is it lowered people's inhibitions, and it actually taught them how to use AR and to begin using AR every single day. And so while it kind of was silly and it was really fun and it didn't feel complicated at all, it actually taught them that you could walk around digital elements, that these digital elements moved with you and that you can explore and interact with them. And now 75% of our users, almost 170 million Snapchatters, actually interact with AR every single day. And so while those were our beginnings, these kind of fun face effects, now that we have the camera behavior of daily behavior in the camera, now that we've taught everyone how to use AR, we've really expanded AR in the camera on Snapchat from these entertaining experiences to now include a lot of utility experiences, like searching for products or trying products on in AR or virtually walking through a storefront. So it's been quite an evolution from entertainment to utility now that we have the behavior of the camera.
Interesting. I love that, how you created this daily habit of playing with AR and people probably didn't even realize that's what they were doing. That's so smart. So you mentioned utility, and one of those is AR commerce. What does that even mean? What are we talking about are we shopping using AR? What does that even mean?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's so many different use cases for AR when it comes to brands and marketers. We tend to think about it as the 3 C's of camera marketing. So you can use AR at the very top of the funnel, which we call conversation. This is really about engagement and buzz. But then you slowly start to use AR lower down in the funnel of your customer conversion. So that second use case of AR is around converting someone, allowing them to buy a product through an AR format. And then the third bucket is around customers. It's around how do you take someone who's maybe already bought your product or looking at it in your physical store and allow them to have a deeper relationship with them. Maybe teach them how to actually use the product or give them advice on how to actually store your product and kind of have it be the best it can be. AR can take so many different folds. And I think it's such an exciting time for AR commerce in particular, when you think about the opportunity for brands to start create 3D models of their products, not just the images that they produce so that people can see pictures of their products online, but how do you start to develop content for your products that start to work in the camera? Because people can have this immersive experience. They can actually try a product on and then go on to purchase it. So it's really a lot of incredible opportunity right now when it comes to AR commerce.
So you mentioned these 3D models, the idea of a 3D model. Is that what we're seeing? Tell us about the left example. Walk us through what we're seeing there.
Yeah, so this is an awesome example from Dior. And in this example, exactly right, we're basically taking a 3D representation, an exact duplicate of what the physical product actually looks like, and allowing you to see that product from the comfort of your living room, really be able to walk around it, move it around, see it from every angle. And what's really unique about this is because it's happening on mobile and a really rich experience like Snapchat, where we know so much about the user, it means that we've actually been able to customize the experience so that your name is appearing in the handbag. And so that's actually kind of Salome's name right there in the middle of the handbag, cool. Which we can customize a handbag to do, and really allowing you to have that immersive experience and see it right in your living room.
That's so cool. And it's so true, because I remember the first time I was ever placing an AR bag in my house. I was trying to take a picture of it, for a story. I was researching it. And I was like, oh, I need to adjust the placement of the bag. And I literally reached out my hand to move the bag on the table because it was so realistic. My mind couldn't even wrap around what I was seeing. It was really crazy.
Exactly. And right now, I think it's just more prevalent than ever as we're at home, a lot of us, not yet able to get back into store. How can you bring your store to wherever your customers are? And that's such an exciting opportunity when you think about it. Think about how much more accessibility there's been with people to access products by just moving online to your website and to apps, right? Completely changed the game. But now there's another transformation where it could be even more immersive, where everything that kind of got lost from your in-store experience when you went to your website, where it's really just a feed, a white background with all your products, how do you actually kind of create that in-store experience, but when someone's at home?
No, totally. It's so interesting to see products in your own environment. Like, it totally changes how you think of them. Robert, I'd love to take it to you. Tell me, why is Gucci so interested in investing in AR? And maybe you can walk us through some of your early projects.
Sure, and thanks for having me on this webinar. I would say that innovation through applications that the digital space can provide us is core to our philosophy about bringing immersive experiences to our customers, bringing entertaining experiences to our customers. So with that priority in mind, we've always been looking for new technologies. I'm hesitant to say we want to be at the bleeding edge, but we certainly want to be at the leading edge, and consequently give our customers those types of immersive experiences before perhaps they get it anywhere else. At the same time, we're obviously living in unprecedented times where digital, experiential, immersive experiences become even more relevant. So this particular journey, the journey of Tryon, is something that we have been pioneering for some time now. We started with eyewear, worked very well. We moved to lipstick. And as you say, yesterday we launched the new Tryon with sneakers. Our relationship with Snapchat is a fantastic one. When you've got two brands that think alike in terms of the notion of how the physical and digital realities can merge together through advanced technology, you have a winning combination. And you can see here on this slide the glasses that we helped Snapchat to unveil at Miami Art Basel back in December, when one of our other creative collaborators, Harmony Korine, the film director, brought to life some content that through these glasses and experiential event, we brought to life in a really captivating way. So again, I think the important idea here is to find partners who think alike, who can help you to amplify that experience. So albeit that we have our own Gucci app, where we embed these kinds of experiences to be able to then extend it to Snapchatters around the world is a tremendous opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I want to hear about that strategy, but you know, I feel like before we talk any more about it, we need to see what launched yesterday. So let's take a look at you mentioned sneaker Tryon.
Yeah. So interestingly, one of our most iconic products, the Ace sneaker, introduced in 1977, reimagined by Alessandro Michele, and today this immersive experience enabling you to try on 4 of Gucci's most iconic contemporary sneakers. And of course, being a luxury brand, we always pay great attention to detail and the qualitative nature of an experience. So along with Snapchat, we partnered with Wannabe, one of the leading technology companies in the application of AR Tryon. And you can see the outstanding result that we've been able to achieve.
It's very cool. So you mentioned Wannabe. I understand you kind of tested their technology and tested the consumer appetite for sneaker try-on a little bit earlier. What did those early tests show to you? Were people trying them on, and then were they actually clicking out to buy products? Like what kind of insights did you get?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of an anecdote first. 5 years ago, when Alessandro became creative director at Gucci, one of the first innovations with one of our most iconic products was his reinvention of the Gucci loafer as the Princetown. And at the time, before AR that we know today existed, we noted that so many people were videoing themselves walking in the Princetown. So we knew that there was this fascination at looking at how you could best equip and outfit yourself with shoes. So when this technology became available for try-on sneakers, what we wanted to do was to connect the experience of being able to try on in the comfort of your home, and then clearly to be able to convert that experience into the self-satisfaction of being able to purchase immediately. Mm-hmm. So that connection from experience to the ability to shop is a fundamental kind of consequence that we wanted to make sure we built into the innovation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what we're seeing now is the Snapchat experience. So in addition to trying on shoes and sharing that with your friends, you can actually literally buy them on the spot, right? I mean, straight from Snapchat? Okay.
You can. And of course, for us, as we experiment and pilot new innovations like this, we're looking at a number of metrics that tell us whether something is being successful. Mm-hmm. Obviously the uptake, the actual use of the try-on, but then through to conversion as we see people coming through and actually purchasing the sneakers themselves. Mm-hmm. And so we have clear metrics that we can see in terms of click-through, but we also conduct qualitative research of our customers as well to understand just how that experience has affected them, whether it's actually been something that has been seamless and something that they felt was true to life. And of course, today in this COVID era, what we have been pioneering in terms of try-ons for some time now has an increased relevance, and the notion of remote clienteling and what we can do to enhance the physical experience by means of digital tools is becoming even more important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I mean, it really does look realistic. It's very cool to see. It's crazy how it looks. Speaking of that, Carolina, I'd love to sort of ask you, how is Snapchat helping brands have access to AR? Because not everyone, most people aren't going to school and studying how to build an AR experience because everything is just so new. So how can brands do more of these projects?
Yeah, totally. I think this is such a great question. It's really just how do I get started? And we get that question a lot. Sometimes AR feels really intimidating or it feels really expensive. And usually we champion these incredible partnerships like Gucci, but much smaller brands might be saying, well, that's Gucci, right? How do I get started? I think at Snapchat, that's really one of our guiding principles from the product development standpoint. And some of the core products that I've helped the team lead and so many people have collaborated on are really focused on how do we open up the accessibility to making creating AR very easy and very cost efficient, and how do I distribute AR and actually get it in front of people in a way that's really cost effective as well, in a way that really drives a return on my ad sales and drives those conversions. So there's been a lot of core products that we've launched over the last few years that allow us to do this. The most important is something called Lens Studio. Now, Lens Studio is our AR creation software. So it's a piece of software that anyone is free to download to their computer. And it really allows you to build these AR experiences for Snapchat. And it's actually the exact same tool that our in-house team develops. So any incredible experience that you've seen on Snapchat, like those face transformation lenses where you all of a sudden look like your brother and it's kind of creepy, all of those incredible cutting edge experiences are actually built by this same piece of powerful software that everyone has access to. Most recently, we announced that now technology companies that are really building these cutting edge machine learning algorithms like Wannaby that allow this shoe try on can now take the models that they've built and put them into Snapchat's Lens Studio so that you can have their shoe try on technology in Snapchat. And that's really what allowed us to do this partnership with Gucci and Wannaby is we opened up Lens Studio for them to be able to contribute. But for brands who might not know how to build themselves with the software, what we've also done is we've certified over 100 AR creators that are currently using our software, and we recommend them to work with brands. Now, this list of 100 partners is really varied. There are some of the most notorious and largest and incredible agencies in that list, and there's also just individual people who have learned the tools extremely well, who are some of the most prolific influencers on Snapchat when it comes to their AR creations. We've also certified them to work with brands because of their skill. And so you can really have this broad set of creators to work with using that tool. And we've even developed new web-based tools so that any brand can develop an AR experience right from their browser and can use all of the 3D assets we've already developed, so they don't even have to create their own, just so that they can get started. And so those are some of the types of creation tools we've developed to make it really easy to get started with AR. And then of course, from a promotion standpoint, how do I actually distribute this? That's the other core thing we focused on. We're making AR as easy to promote, as easy to get your measurement results and your ROI as video. So you can use all the same buy mechanisms, spend as little as $5 a day, have that rich targeting, and actually pay for impressions in the camera, which is really important. Instead of paying for someone to view a video of your AR experience, that's not actually in the AR experience. And so when you think about the cost of maybe developing AR, you want to make sure people are actually not just seeing a video of it, but putting that shoe on their foot. And that's what's cool about Snapchat is you can actually pay for try-on. You don't have to pay for a view, an opportunity to tap into the experience. You can actually pay for an experience in the camera. And that makes it something that really delivers the return that a brand needs when it comes to these types of investments.
That's really interesting. I love the part about being like a matchmaker between creatives and brands. I feel like that's a really important role to play. Tell us a little bit about what are we seeing on the left? Because I understand that is a new feature that just came out, or that the ability to do that is a pretty new thing, right?
Yes, definitely. So this opportunity on the left is an example of our recent partnership with Louis Vuitton, which we announced at our Snap Partner Summit. And what you're seeing here is that we've actually been able to train Snapchat's camera to identify and recognize the Louis Vuitton logo. What this means is that the camera is so much more than a tool to take a picture or a tool to even see AR. It's a tool to recognize the world around you and be able to give you content that's relevant to what you're looking at. So the fact that now customers can scan the Louis Vuitton logo, whether they see that from their storefront or whether they're scanning the Louis Vuitton logo from their wallet at home, they can actually be transported to this LV world where they can see kind of their classic trunks, but also tap on new products to be able to see some of the newest additions to their latest lines, which I think is really an exciting opportunity to own the digital layer around your physical good. And then the second example is from Prada. Again, another example of how a brand can tap into our creator kind of ecosystem, work with partners or work with Lens Studio to develop these types of experiences that both show you the product, but also allow you to have this little bit of fun, this little bit of an experience that allows people to go and advocate and share with their friends and create a lot of advocacy for your brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very neat, very cool stuff. Well, Robert, I want to ask you, Gucci has been known for kind of being early to adopt or test new technologies. Will there be any knowledge sharing among the group, among other caring brands? Do you think maybe more AR in the future?
I mean, look, we're a group of brands that does share knowledge and experience. Oftentimes, at Gucci, given our scale, we have the capacity to pilot and experiment with new technologies and therefore gain knowledge that we can provide to the other brands in the group. So that said, we have very innovative brands in our group who are quite capable of experimenting themselves. So I'd be confident anyway that AR, I think AR, as we've heard and it's been very well expressed, today has really reached a tipping point. And I think Snapchat deserve a lot of credit for their capacity to allow AR to become kind of a very organic part of digital vocabulary today that people are very, very comfortable in using.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carolina, what can you tell us about what is next? What is your vision? Without giving away your secrets, what can you tell us about what's next for AR and commerce?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, I think before even what's next in the next 5 or 10 years, I think there's a pretty immediate opportunity for a lot of fashion brands, especially tapping into AR. We're just scratching the surface. We're living in a moment that allows almost for limitless creativity because the canvas has changed, right? We have gone from being kind of fixed into a linear video that you have to build or an image you have to build to all of a sudden you can transform a full space. You can now create a full immersive experience. And so it's a pretty incredible opportunity for a lot of kind of leaders and designers and creators within the fashion industry to think about this new canvas, this idea of spatial storytelling. You know, fashion brands understand spatial storytelling more than anyone, from their runway shows to their physical store. They really think about every single nuanced detail that allows their brand to come through. But all of a sudden now you can take that type of experience, that immersive opportunity, and bring it to people everywhere. Not just people who can make it to your fashion show or people who can make it to your store. And so that's really what's exciting, is how do we start to build up the creative muscle, the creative understanding of spatial storytelling and transformation, because that's only going to become more and more prevalent as cameras become more and more part of the world around us, not just on your mobile phone that you're increasingly using every day, but actually potentially on wearables, embedded into your home. Think about the fact that there's now mirrors that you can work out with on your home that have a camera in it. You know, their cameras are really moving everywhere. How do brands get ahead of that trend and really start to build content for the camera?
Yeah, so you alluded to this AR glasses concept, which I know everyone is very excited about. Robert, what are your predictions there? Do you think they're going to be on the horizon soon? Are you excited about those one day?
Yeah, I think, you know, we today, I think, understand that technology is becoming pervasive and ubiquitous, and wearables, you know, there are many predictions that soon technology will be actually embedded within us. So I think the closer it gets to our body, the more experiential it becomes. And certainly the eyewear that I've been testing myself has been an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool to think about how that's going to change what our clothes look like depending who's wearing what, right? Like who's wearing glasses. And maybe we'll get to that in the question and answer segment. Well, that's it for our main presentation. Just to recap our key takeaways. First of all, the camera is the new keyboard, so brands should think about the camera in new ways. And the 3 C's of camera marketing, as you mentioned, are conversation, commerce, and customer. And luxury is really in an opportunity to push creativity, being such a creative field. So brands are encouraged to push that even further, as many as 75% of Snapchat's 229 million users, daily users, use AR every day. So it's not just interactivity, it can be before, during, and after a purchase. You can create a new experience. And then finally, brands should start thinking about owning the digital layer around physical goods. And part of doing that is creating 3D digital renders of products really early on. And with that, I would love to take it to our Q&A section. Let me see. Looks like we have a lot of questions coming in. One question, first thing I want to ask you all is, what are maybe some challenges or some mistakes that brands are making? I know we talked about best practices, maybe some stuff that they can move away from.
Yeah, sure. I'll take this one first, but we tend to get this question a lot. It's kind of like, what are the gotchas? What are the watch outs when you think about AR? And I'd say that the most important thing is being really clear about your objective at the very beginning of your kind of campaign that you're developing or the assets that you're developing. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are really saying that you want to drive conversions, but actually what people really want to see is a lot of buzz and sharing on social media and conversation, those are actually 2 very different goals. And the type of creative that you would build in AR to satisfy conversion versus buzz and conversation is quite different. And so you need to be very clear from the onset as what is your core objective? Are you trying to drive engagement? Are you trying to drive sales? Are you trying to drive loyalty? And from there, you decide, okay, this is what my creative now needs to look like based on that objective. And these are the places, the platforms, the sites, the apps that I want to distribute this experience based on that objective. And this is how I'm going to measure it. And this is who I'm going to target it to. And so every decision you make really has to follow your first core objective. And I'd say that was kind of the most important thing to keep in mind, and where you see some missteps is when you have a misaligned objective to kind of what you end up developing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a great point. Okay, we have a number of cool, very good questions coming in. A next question, and you kind of alluded to this, but can you expand a little bit on, for AR creators, what are the opportunities for individual creators to maybe work with the luxury fashion market? And these branded lenses, are they made only by larger agencies, or can individual creators work on them as well?
Totally, individual creators can work on them. And we see that all the time. We actually see so many individual creators developing themselves in Lens Studio and really creating their own fashion moment, which is quite exciting. If you think about fashion, it's so much more than just a piece of clothing. It's also kind of a full look. It's a representation, it's a confidence, it's a feeling. And you're seeing a lot of creators really developing tools in AR that allow people to represent themselves, either transforming what they're wearing or where they are, to allow them to speak for that feeling that they want to communicate. But what you also see is a lot of creators starting to work one-on-one with brands. And so if you're a creator and you're really itching to start to get in touch with brands, to work with them and on behalf of them in creating AR, what I'd really recommend is, firstly, of course, getting really familiar with our software on our tool called Lens Studio, which works really similar to the other AR creation softwares, and then B, applying to be one of our certified creators. If we see your repository and we can really vouch for the quality of your experiences, we'd love to help put you in touch with so many brands, from large brand partners and very well-known brands to up-and-coming emerging brands who are also on our platform looking for creators.
That's really cool. I love seeing all the creators, like the digital makeup and all that stuff they make. It's crazy, the creativity out there. Robert, next one, this question is for you. Can you help us understand how to measure success in an AR campaign in the luxury domain? Like what kind of KPIs are you looking for success?
Yeah, just before I answer that, I wanted to pick up on the creator discussion, because I think one of the most exciting let's say, evolutions of the notion of collaboration that's taken place in the luxury sector. And certainly we've enjoyed being part of that, is that idea of bringing in especially young creatives who become specialists in the technology, and really opening the platform through the brand and the brand vocabulary and iconography. So I think it's great, this opportunity to bring brand and creator together on new platforms. In terms of the metrics, as I said earlier on, we're really looking at both experiential. So we really want to make sure that the qualitative experience is something that is engaging and entertaining. So we're looking at usage, but also the length of time that customers are spending with the application. Also their seamless experience. So we're tracking to see if they're trying on multiple sneakers, because we want to see how easy that is. And then obviously the metrics that ultimately count from a commercial standpoint, how that leads through into the purchase and the lower funnel. So there are a number of different metrics that we look at, from engagement to conversion.
Mm-hmm. And Gucci allows 4 different sneakers, right? 4 different models of shoes, Ryan?
That's right. There are 4 different styles. All of them inspired by the iconic Ace sneaker. And again, one of the takeouts that you highlighted, the importance of having great 3D renderings of your product. That is something that we now spend a lot of time and effort making sure that we do.
Very cool. Well, that actually takes me to our next question, which is, I know, something that is sort of like the holy grail, this idea of AR try-on. So someone wanted to ask, are there any examples, early examples of experimenting with AR clothes in Snapchat? And how, instead of just seeing them in our space, seeing them on us, how far are we away from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question. I think every year you see the technology evolving more and more sophisticated and more realistic. I think that clothing, and especially putting it on your full body, is something that in the past has been a bit trickier to do, to make it look very realistic. There are a lot of innovations that we're investing in order for that to continue to evolve. But we're seeing a lot of brands already be able to represent clothing in a way that's showing a lot of success. One of my most favorite examples, and it's actually available on the Snapchat website as a case study on the business website, which is from Ralph Lauren. And what Ralph Lauren did is they really featured a lot of their outerwear and clothing and tops for people. And so on the selfie camera, they actually transformed, and it looks very realistic, and it looks like you're wearing some of their latest outfits. And on the world side, when you flip the camera, it's actually an interactive game. But what was so incredible about that try-on experience is that it actually drove a 19% sales lift from their website. So it was a pretty remarkable lift in sales from that kind of more apparel focused try-on experience, which is really exciting. But we're also investing in full body tracking. We actually announced a really recent announcement at our partner summit the other week around one of our premium content shows that are coming out on Snapchat. And this show is all about fitness. And how it works is that it shows you a lot of kind of fitness routines and dance routines. And then it has an AR component where you can actually play along and dance along. And it uses full body tracking to actually make sure that you're moving in the exact way that you're supposed to. And so this type of body tracking at such an incredible kind of accurate degree is really the beginning for us to be able to start to move into maybe a full body experience when you're looking through our world side camera. But every day it's just another evolution, another innovation. And so it's exciting.
Yeah, no, I was pretty excited when I saw that now instead of selfies, we're going to be sharing shoofies. I feel like that was a big step. No pun intended. Okay, there's so many great questions coming in, and we're not going to have time for everything, but I think our last question, quickly, how are you training new behaviors for some of these things like detecting the logo or trying on? How are you helping consumers understand that they can do that in Snap?
Yeah, so, we are a company that leads with consumer behavior, not technology. And what I mean by that is that some of this AR technology has actually been around for a while. And you see a lot of applications and a lot of different platforms bring on AR, and it's like the most sophisticated, advanced use of the platform, but that application, no one uses the camera. And the camera is the beginning of then even using AR. And so at Snapchat, we really think about foundational behavior changes. First, we need to get people using the camera every day. Then we'll introduce AR. Then we'll introduce the face first, really understanding how it transforms your face. Then we unlocked the world. Then we unlocked new types of kind of Tryon and commerce experience. And so everything comes with a foundation of training. What's really interesting about some of our new visual search technology, where you can actually point at something and the camera recognizes it, is that we're really building upon the foundation of behavior that already exists on Snapchat, where people already scan for a lot of different reasons. So one of the core reasons that they scan is that they know when they see a QR code that they scan that to add a friend. That's actually how friending happens on Snapchat. And it taught our customers to know how to scan a QR code. Whereas most people look at a QR code and they're like, what do I do with this? Right? We trained it very early on. We also onboarded Shazam, and the volume of people who actually use Snapchat's camera to find out what song is playing, that hold and press, it's been pretty important over the last few years that we've introduced this new functionality of searching from different types of partners. And now that that behavior happens, when you start to do those experiences, we now have a new user experience where we actually show you, okay, here's what song is playing, but also we recognize this plant in the background. And also we recognize this product in your image view. And it's actually training our users, oh, wow, the camera is recognizing these things. And so it's really fun of starting from that foundation of the camera, but it's definitely a beginning of a journey of where visual search will continue to grow and how we'll continue to teach our users about that.
Totally. Well, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for today. But on that note regarding the scanning and adding, tell us, what are these yellow squares? What do they mean?
So these are codes, which is Snapchat's version of a QR code. So basically, for anyone who wants to try on those fabulous Gucci shoes, all you have to do is take Snapchat's camera, which of course we open straight to the camera, and all you need to do is hold and press on the camera screen when pointing to that QR code. The camera will recognize it and they'll unlock that shoe experience.
Very cool. Well, thank you all so much. This has been a great conversation. If we didn't get to your question, just email ask@voguebusiness.com. But thank you so much for sharing these insights. This has been cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.